What's happening, Pod Squad? Welcome in to another tasty, delicious, returning episode of a repeat guest. Neal Glatt is back. I think you were on episode 60-something forever ago.
Could be. It was a while ago. I know that.
I'm so glad you're back. Neal is all things sales. Neal is, he knows how to recruit these people. He knows how to hire them. He knows how to train them. He's a sales assassin. What has changed since the last time you and I chatted? It was 2023 the last time you chatted. What's changed?
So, personally or with sales? Sales has gotten harder.
Okay, let's start with personal. Like, I'm sure some people didn't listen to the first one. Let's paint the picture of Neal Glatt.
Oh, okay.
Let's do that.
My salesman is like my preferred pronoun. Like, it's all I ever wanted to do. It's my favorite thing in the whole wide world. I love sales. I love the psychology of it. I love the rewards of it. I love the benefits of helping someone find like the exact right solution to their problem. I sell anything and everything. Like, if I am, you name it, man. If there's a coffee I'm excited about, if there's a beer I'm excited about, if I get a new phone, like if I've made the purchase decision, I want to sling it to my friends too. Like that's who I am, right? Because I believe I found something great. And so I just love this idea of like sales is like matchmaking, right? Sales is not trying to convince somebody to get something. It's like, is this what you want? Because this is what's really perfect. And there's something a little magical about that, right? Like finding the exact right gift for somebody that you love, right? Finding the exact right solution for a problem you have, and salespeople can do that. So that's what fascinates me about this whole thing.
I went back a couple days ago just to basically reread the transcript of the last time we chatted on the podcast.
Yeah.
And like, there's a couple things that stood out that I honestly, as soon as I read them, I was like, I remember this. I mean, there's a lot, but the one thing that sticks out about what you just said is like, sales is who I am. That was probably one of the most eye-opening things someone has ever told me on this podcast is when they're like, well, I'm great at sales, but I actually like really don't like people.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So the low-hanging fruit that I used to subscribe to was like, well, yeah, great. You asked me in the last episode, well, why do you enjoy sales? Well, I love people. And you said, well, I really don't like people and I'm great at sales. So, what's your next reason? So how does that work? Explain that to people.
Well, I mean, it could be like, I know salespeople who are great because they love people and they love being with people. And like, that's the thing about it. I think, at the core, it's like, what is your reason to sell? Right. What is really fueling this desire for sales success? Like, nobody's ever successful in sales if they don't really want it, if they don't really have the strong desire to want sales success. And so you got to find what it is. And I love being like the problem solver, the discoverer, right? The perfect solution. I love providing that service. I don't want to interact with the people, right? Like I want to build that, right? I want to provide that. And not from like my own creativity. Like I want to look what I discovered, right? Not not how smart I am, just like how great is this, that's my thing. But yeah, last time we talked about strengths, and we probably won't go too far because people can go back and listen to that whole episode. But like, there's, at least 34 different ways that you can be awesome at sales that are all very distinct from them, from each other. You just have to know what they are for you.
Good stuff. So what would you say has changed? I mean, you kind of surprised me. You said things definitely have changed in the last couple of years.
Yeah. We're still kind of on this, like, crazy to say it this way, but like post-COVID world and reeling with what that means. And, when like, I'll say, why are we so good at hiring and recruiting and training salespeople? It's because we have lots of data. And, we work with this company, Objective Management Group, that you're familiar with, that makes these assessments and just has, the world's best data set for salespeople and what makes them work and make them successful. And they're always looking at it. We're always looking to improve and monitor the trends and get better at predicting. And it's harder to do that. And one thing that we've seen is more and more salespeople are comfortable discussing money, right? This is the latest research finding. So 5 years ago, we would be like, if we took 100 salespeople, how many of you are actually comfortable talking about the budget? And it might have been like 30. And now it's like 80 of them, right?
Why?
Well, because they've been trained, right? So we've taught people better. Hey, you really need to talk about budget. Money's become this bigger issue for people. And so talk about it. And sales managers are saying you need to discuss the budget. So salespeople are like, yes, sir, I'll do that. Right. And they've become more accustomed to doing it. What we found that has not changed though, is that when we say after your deal closes, won or lost, did you actually discover the budget? And we've found no movement on that virtually. And so what happened is lots of salespeople are asking for the budget, but more and more buyers are lying about the budget, right? And that's really tough. That's one of the things that's unique about sales versus, lots of other great people that you have on your podcast. You talk about operations. Nobody's lying to you overtly about the mix that you're getting for your asphalt, right? Customers aren't lying to you about the outcome that they want. Not intentionally, but in sales, like they overtly maliciously lie to you about the budget, about the decision-making process. And so it's hard, right? Like it's different than every other job.
You know what that tells my brain? Part of this, anyways. How much of that do you think is that we're talking to the wrong person? Because I know in my industry okay, good. Because in my like this happens all the time, right? Like, and you knew this from Snow, and like sometimes you're talking to the person who, obviously, that person would love to think that they are the right individual to talk to and that they have the authority. So like, it would make sense to me that if you're not getting accurate numbers from a customer about what is the budget, that could be part of it.
Yeah. It's also, it depends on kind of what side of this you're talking about. The maintenance versus the capital improvement, right? That you guys deal with. But sometimes it's like, hey, we actually don't know. We do this. I mean, what do you repave once every 20 years, maybe, or 30 years, right? Like we've never done it. We actually don't know. Things that sometimes it's like, well, last time we did it 20 years ago, this was what it cost. So that is our budget. Right. And like, okay, well, that's your number on a piece of paper, but that's not reasonable. And that's where you see, these HOA managers go back to their individual homeowners or condo owners, and they have this crazy assessment, and HOA fees double this year to make up for, a new parking lot or a new roof or whatever. And it's not like, oh, we're going to screw the contractor intentionally, occasionally. But usually it's like, hey, you don't have any info. You've done no research. You have no idea what you're talking about. And I mean, how many times have you talked to somebody and they're like, Cam, you're insane. We could never pay $100,000 for this. And then they get 4 more quotes that are all more than $100,000. They come back and they're like, you're actually the best deal. Really sorry about that. So there's lots of reasons why they end up lying to you, but they lie to you.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask you, maybe we'll go through like the actual process, the employee life cycle, so to speak. Like start with recruiting, start with the recruiting side, and then get into like the actual hiring. And then once we have these people, that's the other thing I caught when I was rereading the transcript. You said like we can't out benefit Starbucks. And I was like, man, isn't that so true?
That hasn't changed, man. They are going strong on the Spotify subscriptions and the college tuition for part-time workers. Like
it's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Park that. We're gonna come to that one. What have you seen? What have you seen happen? So I probably said this last time too. Like a lot of people listening to this are probably in that like, there's a pretty small range, maybe they're $250,000 revenue, maybe $500,000. Maybe they're thinking about hiring their first sales rep.
Yeah.
So
it's tough.
Why is it tough? Yeah.
Well, because you only get one shot, right? Like if you're a $500,000 revenue company and you want to go hire a salesperson, that person's going to cost your company $100,000 to $200,000 per year, depending on your market and the pay and the benefits and, you know, what your work comp modifier is and like all those things, right? Like all in company wide. So like you're scrimping and saving to make it work for one person, and you only get one shot. And then that person only gets 6 months to start paying for themselves before you're like out of cash, right? Like I'm personally in the same boat. I have an employee now, and that they're getting paid out of my paycheck, right? Like there's no additional revenue yet. We're optimistic, but man, we do that. We make that wrong choice and they don't perform. It's not like a crew member, right? Like not like you can just fire them and replace them.
So I like what you just said makes sense to me, but that might be sticker shock to somebody listening. Like, what do you mean I have to pay somebody $200,000? Like, why can't I just pay someone like
$200,000? But yeah, you know, if they're performing, you know, they're going to want to be making probably at least 80,000, depending on where you are and what currency you're talking about, right? And then you have payroll taxes, you have insurance, you have overhead. Like, add up the cost, it gets really expensive. And not to mention in your first year, you need to be paying for all the training time. Like, what are they going to do in their first 4 weeks besides nothing? Like, benefit for the business. They're going to be learning, right? And you're going to be with them all that time. So it's expensive. And then the first time reps, you start getting into stuff and it's like, oh, I guess we really should get you that Chamber of Commerce membership, and we should really get you that CRM technology and, you know, that phone line. And I mean, you can skimp on all those benefits and they can, you know, pretty quickly hate you as opposed to doing it, you know, slowly over time. But like, why? Right. Yeah. I hired Cassidy, who, you know, right? Cassidy's 22. And so it's really fun for me because I get to kind of surprise her with stuff that she doesn't necessarily expect. And I'm like, I can't have you. I need you to go to Staples. We work from home, right? So, Cassidy, go to Staples. I want you to pick out everything that looks interesting. I want you to get a really good camera, a really good headphone and microphone so you don't have problems. A keyboard so you can type, a mouse. Buy the expensive one that's lightweight so you can like travel with it because we work from wherever we are. I want you to like, I want it total ease. You know, she brought her own laptop and phone, but do you need a new one of those? I bought her AirPods, headphones for like $300. She showed up on a Zoom call. She was walking in place and she was all excited because she bought a desk treadmill. Cassidy, I would have bought you that. Oh, we bought her a standing desk, right? Like, and she's like, are you serious? Oh, yeah, man. The one thing I can't have, right, is that you believe that there's a tool I could buy you to make you more successful, and I'm not willing to.
That is like so true, man.
She hasn't even been given a paycheck, and I've laid out all this cash. Yeah. Right? And like, hey, if it all goes south, she's maybe nice enough to send it back to me, but what am I going to do with this crap, right? I'm not, you know, it's like, so these costs are expensive, right? Also, Cassidy gets to train. She gets a sales training, and not for me. Like, I'm paying somebody else to do what I do professionally because, you know, I mean, when's the last time your personal driver was seal coated? Right? It's the stuff you never do. Yeah. You never take care of your own stuff the way that you take care of other people's, right?
That's fascinating to me. You're giving her a newer employee training, but not from you.
Not from me.
What made you decide that?
It's so complicated to be somebody's manager and coach. So there's something really beautiful when you're like, this is your coach. Like, you call them about anything. You can talk shit about me, right? Like, they're 100% for you. They never have to have a hard conversation about, hey, performance wasn't there. Like, the manager coach, keeping them separate is so clean. And then, you know, this dude shows up on time for every meeting, and client pressures don't ever push him because she is the client, right? So, yeah, that's a no-brainer.
That's super interesting. Like, okay, we've taken advantage of the objective management group, the assessments themselves.
Right.
And I've actually like attended some of their webinars after you introduced me to them. Like, so I'm trying to be, I'm struggling because I'm trying to be empathetic to like these smaller type companies, right? Because you do have programs, Neal, that are very, very excellent at recruiting to find them. So like you will go and find the people that a company needs, but it comes
we
with
don't
a cost.
recruit.
Yeah.
We don't find the people. We teach you how to.
I understood. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Like I have no Rolodex of salespeople.
Gotcha.
So we don't actually provide. We just help you write a job ad that will attract them.
Fair enough. So that assessment though is it feels to me like it's almost like the backbone. Am I right of like what?
It is. So this assessment that we're talking about, measures salespeople on, I don't know, 240 or so dimensions of stuff that has been proven to be important for sales success and predictive of sales success. And it's just way more than we could ever do without an assessment, right? You try and ask them questions, in an interview standpoint or from you can't get that far, right? So and it's objective. So they call it objective management group, right? And so even if we said, hey, make sure that they're motivated, how do you do that?
You quantify motivation. They don't lie to you.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So the assessment cuts through a lot of that stuff, and it speeds up the process really well. And it's not the whole score, right? Like when we say, hey, this person's recommended for the role, well, you still need to make sure they're a cultural fit and you like them and they sound good on the phone and, they can do that. There's lots of other things that we need to look for that are, we would say maybe, or a lot of people would say is like more important, hire for attitude, not skills, right? Mm-hmm. This gets you kind of the best of both worlds in that way. But we can't assess for cultural fit. I don't know what your culture is, right? Like we got to do that through an interview. So
very much so. So I've had the benefit of this assessment, and like, we'll put notes, into objective management, and obviously you as well, so that you can actually issue these things. So I've had the advantage of taking these as both. Let's take it for a current salesperson that I had, and I've used it as a tool for recruiting and hiring. Now that I've used it, I can confidently say that I would always use it for recruiting and hiring. Like there's no scenario now where I would hire a salesperson without that information because it's so valuable. So is this common though? Like are you issuing this assessment to companies that have a salesperson? Because a lot of people listening might have one, and they might now be wondering, like, I wonder if I should get my guy tested.
Yeah, I mean, we do. It's like 50-50, right, in terms of what our business is. When we're talking to a company and they need a salesperson, we'd be like, hey, man, friends don't let friends hire salespeople without this process, right? Like, you'd be so dumb not to. And so that's a very easy kind of conversation. And we'll come back to that, I think. I have an exercise for you, by the way, that we can do here because I know you love them. So, but the other side is like, hey, look, we have these people. Well, we're not looking to displace any of them. We're looking to figure out why they're not doing as good as you think they could, right? Or at the very least, even if they're doing better than goal, how much more could they be doing, right? And so, if you have 10 people, which is a lot, right? Most companies don't. For $7,500, I can tell you how much more they could do and specifically what you need to get them trained on to do that, and maybe even who they could learn it from within the own organization to achieve another $1 million in sales. Like,
what's the gross profit on that? Yeah.
I mean, you go for an annual physical, you get blood tests done on a annual basis, or when your doctor recommends it, just to make sure that you're healthy, to see what risks are there that you're not aware of. Like, this is that same type of maintenance that we would do, right? Sometimes our findings are your people are fine. Your process and systems need a lot of work, right? And so, it's just that kind of, it's a check-in.
It's amazing how much data comes, because the actual assessment is typically, is it 45 minutes or an hour?
45 to an hour, depending on the version. Yeah.
Unbelievable amount of information. It's almost like, how is that possible?
It's wild. They've been doing it for 35 years. And in fact, I don't know if we talked about this, but like This assessment saved my own sales career 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
I don't even think I know this story. No.
So here's my situation, right? I only ever wanted to be in sales. I graduated university in 2009, and I wanted to go be a pharmaceutical salesperson, and there was this global recession. So they're like, no, right? And that's how I ended up working in the trades. And I was working for a landscape and snow removal company. And after a year, I got hired to go be the sales guy at a bigger company or a company that wanted to be much bigger. And I got a sales coach, and things were going fine, and I was making sales. And then after 3 years, I was very, very confident, right? After 3 years, because there's so many people who are like, hey, we're in a 3-year contract. Call me, this year. I'm like, dude, this should be my best year ever. Well, I had my worst year ever. So how could my third year be worse than my first year? I'm freaking out, right? Doesn't make any sense. I actually know what I'm talking about. I'm not just making it up. Like, I have a pipeline. I have people interested. So I called my sales trainer, it'd been a couple of years, and I was like, Kirk, man, I don't know what's going on, but I need help. I just struck out like 3 times. I'm done, man. And he's like, I don't know. You haven't talked to me in 2 years. I'll take an assessment. And he sends me this link, and I take the OMG assessment. And it comes back and it says, like, Neal, you're pretty good at sales. Like, you have a lot of the right beliefs. You have a lot of the right tactics. There's some things you can improve on, but you don't have the will to sell. And I was like, what are you talking about? Of course I have the will to sell. And specifically in the will to sell, it said that I had a low level of motivation and I didn't have any personal meaningful goals or a plan to achieve them. And I was hot, man. I called Kirk and I was like, this stupid assessment, what are you talking about? And he goes, well, what's it say? It says it does. I don't have any goals. And he goes, well, do you? And I said, yes, Kirk, I do. And he goes, what are your goals? And I said, at the time, I was 23 years old. And I said, I want to make $100,000 a year. And he goes, cool. How much did you make last year? And I said, I did it, Kirk. I made $105,000 last year. And I thought I was all hot shit. And he goes, well, Neal, you're an idiot because that was your goal. And now you need a new one. And it doesn't have to be more money necessarily, but it does need to be incremental in terms of what you're aspiring to. So we went through some goal setting and then we were off to the races. Right. And so in the 7 years I worked at this company, when I signed on, they were like $1 million company. 3 years in, we were up to like 12 million. And then I took the assessment, and then the next 3 years we went from 12 to 48 million. And I was part of a team. I had a lot of people who helped, but like that was kind of my sales, right? And so that was the power of this assessment. When I left and I was looking to go start coaching, I was not looking to use OMG assessments. It wasn't until I started getting my own team and realized, wow, all these people have different problems and I don't know what any of them are. That I was like, I need that assessment I took. And so that's how I started selling and using OMG assessments in my own practice.
Man, it could be so many things. And that's crazy that's
so many things.
I could see someone reasoning that like an attachment to a personal goal is like on the hierarchy of what moves the needle might be like low. Like,
and it is.
Yeah, but it was enough for you to like, it was messing up your whole career.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's, the analogy I've been talking a little bit recently is like it's kind of like baking, which baking is beyond me, but I've attempted it enough times to know like even if you get all the right ingredients, you could be just a little tiny bit off and the whole thing comes out bad. And so like that's what we see sometimes with salespeople. Like, look, I don't know why we are not achieving what our potential is, but we can find out scientifically. And to take it to a more tactical level, right? I get the call all the time. Hey, I didn't get this deal. What happened? I don't know. Did you talk to the right person? Did they tell you the truth? Did you actually find out the reason? Was the budget real? Like, were you undercut at the last minute? Did you not have enough rapport? Like on and on down the line, any single one of those things. And just a little edge on any one of those things. Like, I'm not smart enough to just like talk to somebody and figure that stuff out. I was with my sales trainer who's now training Cassidy because I still have one too. And I was like, and this is his whole career, his sales training in front of a group, right? Go, Kirk, how many hours of like unique content do you think you have, right? Or have spoken on? And he's like, it would probably not be an exaggeration to say 400 hours of like we could record 400 hours of audio of this guy and it wouldn't be repetitive. They're all about sales. And it's like, well, which hour are you going to give somebody? You know, like they're in sales, they're having some level of success. How do you know which one they need? That's where the assessment comes in.
Yeah, that's a great explanation of it. Yeah. What's the highest leverage basically that you can get?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Man, so I read a book almost assuredly after. It was definitely after you and I recorded. So I think it was like the end of 23, maybe in early 24. It was recommended to me in the network I was in. And it was about sales management. And I don't know. Yeah. So it was.
Is it the one you recommended to me? Because I read it, I think. Sales Management Simplified? Or
Yeah, that's exactly it. I want to say Mike Weinberg or Weinstein or Wine something. It's a little bit older, but like, you know, he's actually staying pretty current. Like he's, you know, he didn't just write a couple of books and he's done. Like he's, you know, still sticking with it. And I would say like, you can just tell even in the book, it does have a little bit like an older feel to it, but not like in a way that it's been replaced. And I found that very impactful because I found like, from someone who found, you know, starts his company from a minivan to now, you know, you're hiring people. Now I've hired a salesperson. Like nobody gives you the book, and there is truly no book on sales management where you can just read it and have it. But it was enough where it was like shocking to me. It's pretty rare that I read a book and I'm like, whoa, like I didn't really think of this. But there was enough in there to make me realize like very quickly, okay, exactly what you were just talking about with like the skills and that. Like if I don't have some sort of program here as an acting sales manager, which a lot of smaller companies, the founder is going to be the sales manager. If I don't have a system here, I'm kind of hooped. I want to know what you would recommend then, like for these people who are hiring their first salespeople. Because I'll tell you, sorry, I don't want to ramble, but I got to tell you this: like in my working with smaller companies one-on-one with business owners, that's kind of the impression I get. You know, it's not always explicitly said, but I hear it as, you know, I will get the salesperson, that equals sales, and now I can focus on other things. But it's not that way.
Yeah. No, it's not. I mean, pick your favorite sport, right? And well, what is your favorite sport?
If I had to pick one, I mean, I'm
Blue Jays
honestly
bandwagon, by the way.
No, I'm not. I'm not a Blue Jay. I'm a Red Sox guy. You would love me. I am a San Francisco 49ers fan through and through.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, here in New England, we always talk about Tom Brady, right? Like there's a statue of the guy.
Who?
Right.
Yeah.
Tom. Right. So, but I mean, pick your favorite quarterback. Say the 49ers go and recruit, you know, the number one draft pick quarterback. Maybe they did. I'm not a football guy, right?
Yep.
This guy's got all the potential in the world, right? This guy's done it on the field, or you get a free agent. He's the guy, right? What if this guy showed up and they were like, man, you're the guy. You're so good that we're not going to show you playbooks. We're not going to require you to come to practice, and you don't even need to talk to our coaches. One, how successful would it be?
I can name you 5 quarterbacks that's happened and now they're irrelevant.
Totally. And you look at the organization and be like, you guys are the dumbest group of guys I've ever met in my entire life.
It's called the Cleveland Browns, by the way. Yes. Yeah.
Why would you think that would be successful?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. By the way, the best guys in sports, any sport, they're like, hey, thank you, team, for this opportunity. Here's my staff that I'm paying. I have my own nutrition coach. I have my own sports psychologist. I have my own personal trainers. And I'd love to incorporate them here because I'm going to pay for who I believe is the best.
And somehow we just mess that up when we start businesses.
And we just go, you're so good. You should be able to do it on your own. Like, why does Neal have coaches? Why is Neal paying for somebody else to go get to coach his salespeople, right? Like,
honestly, every time I talk with you, recording or not, like you often say something that I'm like, I didn't expect that. You hiring an independent person for your employee is like, that's interesting. Now I get it.
Yeah. But on the subject of process, you want to do this exercise? This will be fun.
I'm so excited for this because I don't know what it is. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Cam has no idea. I am the host now. All right. So for those of you listening via audio, which is probably most of you, I'm sharing on the screen a list of numbers, a big sheet, and there's just a bunch of random numbers all over the place from 1 to 100. And normally we have you circle, Cam, but we're just going to have you kind of like point, and we're going to trust you on your answer.
Sure.
Just point at 1, then point at 2, then point at 3. And in 30 seconds, let's see how far you get. Okay.
You want me to find the numbers? Which numbers?
So start at 1 and just work your way up.
Okay. I got 1.
All right.
I got 2. I got 3, 4.
I'm giving Cam 30 seconds here. And it's just a mess of different numbers. And
I'm
different
stuck
shapes.
at 6. Come on. Where's 6? Everything was flying smooth. If there's no 6, I found 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, right. This is brutal. I'm trying to relax my eyes. 10. Oh, 11's going to be brutal. It's so skinny. Where's 11?
We got 5 seconds left.
I got 12. Okay. I'm
Okay.
stuck at 12, bro.
That's it. Time. All right. That's 30 seconds. You got to 12, right?
12.
Now, I'm going to share it again. This is the exact same sheet.
Okay.
With one change. There's now a vertical line and a horizontal line, so it's in quadrants.
Okay.
The numbers are in the same places. Okay. Count up to 30. Or count up for 30 seconds. See how high you can get now.
Same thing? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 tripped me up last time.
Oh, did you notice something? You noticing a pattern?
Am I noticing a pattern?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Keep going.
Oh, yeah. The alternating quadrants. Yeah. 7. Okay. I did notice that actually. 9,
Keep
10,
going. 15
11,
seconds.
12, 13, 14. Oh, this is now really easy. 15, 16, 17, 8. 18 is small. I got it. 19. Yeah, I'm going to get to like 24 here. I'm already at 21.
There you go. 3, 2,
22, 1. 23. I got to 23.
So what happened?
Quadrants, pattern recognition, obviously.
We gave you a process to do it faster.
Yeah. Yeah. The two skinny line process. It worked.
Right? So it's not like we told you where stuff was.
Yeah.
This is the same problem you've seen before. Obviously, that helps a little bit.
Yeah.
But like we equip you with a process to navigate the situation. Clicks. Right? And so that's the other half of this recruiting system is, yeah, we have this great assessment. We can tell you all kinds of amazing stuff. But if we give you a process to standardize your process of assessing, interviewing, you know how we interview with the structured questions and the scorecards and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. We're showing you exactly what to look at in what order. Usually what people are saying is, wow, one, you've given me way more information than I could have possibly imagined, right? In fact, it's overwhelming. But because of the process that you've equipped it with and taught me how to navigate, we're reviewing so many more people, right? I just posted on LinkedIn today. We went through this with a company. The guy got 413 resumes for this one single hire. And he's like, if I had to look at 413,
that's a full-time job.
I would give up. In fact, he did give up last time he tried to hire, right? Equipped with a process, I think he phone screened maybe 18 people for 5 minutes each. I think he had first interviews with maybe 8 for an hour each. And I think he had 2 or 3 second interviews and he's got his hire. And so it's like, there's both sides of this, right? The process and the science.
Yeah. What would you say then, like, first 90 days?
Yeah.
Let's say you bring in the salesperson. Let's say you did it correctly and you did contact Neal and you got the objective management group sales assessment and you use that to filter your candidates and you found one who's clearly, has a baseline of ability and potential. Yeah. And so you bring this person into your company. What do you think is the highest leverage things that you could do, like first 30, 60, 90 days kind of thing, to make sure that person's on the right path?
Well, we build that as well, right? So this guy I was just telling you about, Phil. Yeah. Phil, he's like, guys, I'm so excited. This lady Michelle's starting, and he's like, we're on this call. He's, thank you. He was very kind. Couldn't have done it without you. Don't know how I would navigate it. And I was like, cool, man. Job's not done. right? Like, I'm glad you're happy, but we still have work to do. I need to build an onboarding plan for you. And, we talk about making the job offer an exciting point, right? So normally an employee, their first day on the job is like the best possible day, right? When Cassidy started with me, she was on the phone. She's like, I'm like shaking. I'm so excited. I can't even imagine the potential of my future here, right? And then it's just a downhill slope, right? From there, like, oh, you don't actually have time for me? Like, oh, I thought you knew I was starting today. How come I don't have an email, right? Like, oh, I have to figure out how to call people. Like, we're unprepared for them, right? And it's just this total buzzkill. And so the most important thing is like, show up. Like, they gave you 3 weeks to get ready. Go get ready, have their whole first day plan, their whole first week plan, hour by hour. After that, week by week of topic. What are they supposed to be doing? What are their KPIs? How do they know if they're successful? You have kids, so you probably had the experience of downloading some mobile game and like you beat level 1 in 4 seconds. And then they beat level 2 in 30 seconds. And then they beat level 3 in 2 minutes, right? And it's just like win, 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 win. And then it's like Cam has to pay $7 for the app, right? To keep going. Because it gets progressively harder, right? So like, what are the quick wins we can give them and celebrate for the new hire in that first 90 days before we get to that level of, okay, now you're really at the level of performance, you're in the job, and wins are going to come slower and they're going to be more difficult to get.
Do you think that's where a lot of companies are missing it? Like, because you say it out loud and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, this makes nothing but sense. Of course, you'd want to do anything you can to increase the chances that someone is going to stay, but also
right.
B, succeed. But is that like, are companies bungling this up? Like,
totally.
Really?
12% of employees say that their onboarding experience was exceptional.
Huh.
Gallup has a phenomenal perspective on this, which I can send. You can attach as show notes.
Would love that.
But they want to know, like, who's my manager? What is my strength? Like, why do they value me? What am I supposed to contribute? It's funny because I was emailing a client. Cassidy was attached because she's new to the job. She's being shadowed. Clients talking about, can we set up a meeting, touch base? Absolutely. Here's some times that work for me. The guy writes back, 11:30 is perfect, on Thursday. And I'm busy. I'm in meetings or on a podcast or something. And so I get off, I see the email, and then I also see a calendar invite from Cassidy to all of us setting up the meeting. Right. And it's like, I called her and I said, Cassidy, I want to tell you, thank you. I really appreciate you setting up that meeting. And she was like, oh yeah, it was so much work, right? Like sarcastic 22-year-old, And I'm like, I'm not thanking you for the effort, the work that you did. I'm thanking you for the proactiveness to notice and to do it, because it actually does make my life way easier. And I want to encourage you to continue looking like that. Like that, for her, we call it activator in the world of strengths. Like, let's get started. Right? Her ability to just jump into stuff is her greatest strength. Do more of that, right? It doesn't have to be this huge lift. I'm appreciative of it, like, honestly. And so that's the type of thing where it's like they don't know. She's out here thinking that the best thing she can do is bring revenue in. And, eventually that's a KPI, a really important one, but that's not your strength, right? Your strength is this. So do more of that. And companies are bad at identifying it, and they're bad at telling people that stuff.
You know what I think too, and I'm sure this is not just Pavement specific, but I know this is a thing with some of the people that I've worked with, is they don't appreciate the proactive thing. A business owner can sometimes get so focused, or a sales manager can get so focused on like the end result, like you chose the wrong result, when in reality, like, you should be stoked. You should be pumped that they actually made a decision, and like you just use that as an opportunity to help them make a better one next time, right? Like,
right. So like when I want people, this solves two problems, right? One problem is, well, what the hell am I going to do with this person for 90 days? Right. I have a real job to do. And now I'm responsible for them also. Right. And we try writing out somebody's first week and you're like, there's all these gaps. Right. And the second problem is they don't know what I know. So they don't solve problems like I do. And I want people to solve problems like I do. Right. So what I do is I just shadow. Like you're going to follow me around. You're going to come to meetings and they're like, why am I here? Like, you're here to learn. Just observe. Right. And when I worked for another company, I would sometimes bring people in. And one time my boss was like, what is she doing here? Right. Like, she's learning. And then as we leave the meeting, there's follow up. Why did you say that? Why did you do that? Okay, here's what you didn't see. Because like I'm not going to stop and give them context. I don't have time for that. Afterwards, like here's what my thought process was. Guess what they learn? They learn my thought process because they're observing it, right? And so I don't care. I'm paying them anyway. Let's just let you observe what I'm doing, whether it makes sense, whether it's what you would think. I mean, sometimes they're like, well, I think I would have done this. So like, oh, it's actually an interesting idea. Maybe we should try that, right? But then they start to emulate the response too, not just the initiative.
Totally.
Yeah.
So we're trucking to the end here. I don't want to keep you forever, but put your hat on for like another, again, a small company, right? So a lot of companies listening to this are under the $1 million mark. What do you think is like what's like the overrated, overused, maybe it worked 20 years ago type of thing for recruiting, hiring, that you're just like the thing that makes you cringe, bro, when you hear it?
I mean, industry experience.
Like it's irrelevant.
Totally irrelevant. Yeah, I think that's probably that, or education, or would be the two. And experience or education, they're just like, they're so not relevant to what you do. And I mean, so here's the question I used to get all the time. I'd go to snowplow shows or even asphalt shows, and people would see like, all right, this guy who never worked in the trade, right? Sales hands, and figured out how to sell this thing that nobody else seemed to be able to sell at that scale. Where do I find somebody like you? Right. Because like, I'm off the market. I am ultra loyal to my employer. And what I used to tell people in snow removal was, oh, well, I was born and raised in Southern California. I never saw snow until I was 17 years old. And this guy hired me straight out of college. So like, I guess look for somebody like that. Right. And they're just like, what are you talking about?
Just melted their brain.
Right. When I left my role to go start my own consulting, which was amazing. Right. I went to my boss and I was like, I feel like I got to try this. And he's like, you owe it to yourself. And I ended up giving him 6 months notice, and it was just a victory lap, and it was a blast. We left on great terms, and so grateful for everything he taught me and did, especially helping me find a way to navigate that. Right. So I took a little sabbatical, came back after a couple of months, and I saw that they were trying to hire my replacement, of course. Right. And the job posting said, must have 10 years of experience. And I was 8 years out of college. And so I sent him a text just as a joke. I go, hey man, was having second thoughts, thought I would come back, but then saw I'm not qualified for my old job. Right. He was like, no, of course you are. Like, it was a joke, but what are you talking about, man? Why, who assigned 10 years? Because that's a screen now. That's not a suggestion. That's a screen.
What do you mean?
Like, that's something that people are going to throw away resumes based on.
When you like say a negative screen, like,
yeah. And so you're just tossing talent away based on this arbitrary thing that, I mean, how many people have been doing stuff for 10 or 20 or 30 years and they still suck at it, right? Like, it has no relevance. Talk about paving. I've never paved anything, right? Like, I've walked the trade show floor with you like twice. I think the last time we walked through, and I mean, I've been in this industry, or I've known people in this industry and talked to them for a while. And I remember my question was like, hey, Cam, do I actually have to seal coat my driveway at home? And you were like, yeah, dude, I can't believe you're asking me this, right? Like, that's how little I know. And yet I can get up and help companies because I understand the perspective, right? And so, like, you can teach that. What you do is not that complicated. Of course, there's so much science that goes into the type of paint, or what do you even call it? Paint markers, right? The way that it adheres, the mix, it's insanely complicated. There's brilliant people manufacturing these machines to flow it just the right way. Your sales guy doesn't need to know any of that. Your customer doesn't care, so they don't have to explain it to them. What do they have to know? Your customer is pretty dumb when it comes to this. Isn't that your frustration? Customer just doesn't get it. Customer was lied to by the competition. Customer doesn't understand the difference in price and the quality that we're bringing. They don't know. They don't care. So your sales guy needs to understand what they actually care about, which is probably the way that you communicate, the speed at which you can get there, how you can solve their problems, all that stuff. So why would you need industry experience? Probably the guys who you hire with industry experience probably have a hard time getting out of the field to go actually spend time with customers.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right.
So I would say that's overrated. And also, I think it's easier for people to learn. I mean, you said 20 years ago. So what didn't we have 20 years? We didn't have like YouTube videos like crazy from manufacturers about learning the industry. So it's easier to teach now. You don't need to go spend a week on a crew, like 20 minutes on YouTube, the way that your kids learn everything, right? I think that's more natural. I think that's, Chat GPT. That's a conversation I had with Cassidy is like, I'm happy to help you with stuff, but I only want to help you with problems you can't solve on your own. So just before you ask me, ask Chat, right? And my expectation is that over time, the questions that you're asking me get more complicated. Other than that, like open book. And so she'll come. She's like, here's the conversation I had with ChatGPT. Here's where I'm at. Like, oh, amazing. You're 3 steps ahead of where every employee used to be 3 years ago for the same situation. Right. So we can overcome a lot of that with technology that we have that we didn't used to.
Yeah. All right, I got one more for you. One more. As I think about our audience yet again, like for context, this objective sales management assessment that Neal can issue is very reasonably priced. Like it's not going to cost you $1 billion at all. So besides that, because I think that would, I think that's the thing. That's probably the thing. If I'm you, that's what I would say. Besides that thing, if I'm like, no, I really just need to do something with my current salesperson or my first 2 salespeople or whatever. What's the biggest lift they could do as a sales manager to help their salesperson succeed?
You got to get them a CRM, right? So CRM is customer relationship management. It's a tool. I know you think you have one, but you probably don't, because everybody who says that, like when you buy a solution for your business, whatever technology you're using, and they say, oh, we also have a CRM. That's not what the salesperson needs, right? They need something that's specifically for them. And the reason why I know it's not for them is because your system is only for clients. Your system is only for people who have agreed to or already given you money, right? And they're supposed to be talking to hundreds of people who have not yet agreed to give you money, all these prospects. And they need a way to email them. They need a way to keep organized with it. And, if you're a small company, it's possible that you could do that in Excel or Google Sheets, but it's not good. The system, Zoho is free for the basic, right? We talk about 21 different key performance indicators, KPIs, statistics, basically, that you have to have for your sales team. Do you want to calculate that by hand? You want them handing you a sheet of here's the number of calls I made and the last time I made a call to this person, and then you're going to try and get some reporting there. $20, $30 a month at the low end, up to $100 a month. let technology work for you that way, to stay organized, to nurture people. Some of these have like buying signals. You can see if they read your emails, like,
Yeah.
I mean, somebody tells me, oh, I sent them an email. Okay. Like, did they receive it, or is it in their spam folder? Oh, I don't know. Well, obviously, but that means like we don't know how effective we are. Right. So just something to track it. And I have the same problem. We can hire somebody for you. We can train somebody for you. If I don't know what they're actually doing for activity or how it's working, how am I supposed to help them?
Yeah.
So
yeah, you pick one of the 240 things that you could figure out on that assessment and be like, hope this is the one.
Yeah. And salespeople, one of the reasons why it's so impactful is not just to like know what's happening, but salespeople, they live by the emotion today, right? So when my salespeople make a sale, the world's a beautiful place. In fact, I don't know if this was in your sales management book, but my number one hack as a sales manager, right, is I never have to ask somebody how it's going. Okay. Sales managers know that it's going well because their salespeople tell them, or that it's not going well because they haven't heard anything. Those are the only two options for sales management. Right. And so, when it comes to helping salespeople, they'll be like, I don't know if I have it. I don't know if I can do it again. What if last month or last quarter was a fluke? And a CRM can level set that. What are you talking about? I just showed a sales team that I manage, because I do fractional sales management too. Their Q4 is their busiest time of year, their seasonal sale. Mm-hmm. And so September was okay, but they're looking at this mountain decline for October and they're like, I'm not seeing it. Right. So I went into their CRM and I did a little research, and I was able to show them that most of the deals that they closed in October were only alive for like 10 days on average. Okay. So Bingo. they would talk to somebody, they do demos, like in this type of environment, they would do a demo, they would send a quote, and within 10 days on average, that person bought. And so when it's October 1st and your pipeline's empty and they're very worried about what they can do this month, you have 20 days before we should be worried, because on day 20, you're going to talk to people who are going to close on average on October 30. And that's when we can start to know how this month's going to shape up. So why are we worried? Let's do what's right to make sure that happens. The calling, the booking of demos, the outreach, that type of stuff. Right. And I can actually get that back to will to sell, positive outlook, positive intent, sales optimism, start to have a great month, deals start to flow in. I mean, we saw deals that closed 48 hours. I mean, how many times have you had that? Approved, right?
If we could have a 48-hour buy cycle, I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
So when we have the real statistics that your operation system doesn't show you, because they don't see that stuff, a CRM will, and now we can really start to deal with data. And I'm looking not at lagging indicators, I'm looking at leading indicators. So I know this month's going to be good because 3 weeks ago we sent out a bunch of quotes. I know that this month's going to be good because last week we booked a ton of demos, right? And I know when those things translate over by age to the graph, because I'm in it today, right? I also know when to get salespeople to move on with their lives. So I think this company, over the time period I was looking at, they closed like 170 some deals. Only 4 of them were ever older than 30 days. And
so they're doing a good job of churning out the old, ones that aren't going to convert.
Well, no, they're not doing a good job of it. It's just that if they get that old, because the day is based on when they mark it as closed.
Yep.
So when they give up because they won it or they lost it, when they move on with their lives from that sale, right? The ones that we win are under 30 days. We still lose the ones that are under 30 days. But when it gets to 31 days or older, we almost always lose it eventually, right? There were some that were 180 days, which means 6 months of your life, this person was occupying some energy, right?
Which is totally fine if you're selling a $2 million like Fortune 500 solution. But yeah, probably not if your
Honestly, it's
average
not.
sale is.
Honestly, it's not, Cam, because it's the same in every industry, right? But they can exist. We can know them, but not like proposal. They're not ready. If I gave you a proposal and you pick it up 6 months later, no, I should have never given it to you then. I can give it to you at month 5 from that, right? And so we can say here, hey man, you sent this proposal in July. Yeah, it's really close. I think I'm going to follow up a few more times. How about it's not, and you go spend time with someone who will purchase from you? But that's not like my opinion. That's real data, you know?
Dude, I've fallen in love with sales management. I mean, it requires brutal honesty. So, yeah.
I used to think sales was the hardest job in the world, and I think it might be sales management now.
That's an interesting thing you just said. Yeah. I don't have enough experience to truly say one way or the other, but it is funny as someone who enjoys sales, you know, and now still being involved in it. Don't get me wrong. Like, you know, I'm still on the board, so to speak, but not like I'm not competing against the team.
No.
I would, well, put it this way. If I had a choice of which one would be easier, I'd rather just go sell stuff.
That's what I'm saying, man. Right? Like,
but I've also come to fall in love with everything you just said. Like, I can't imagine not having. We're just now switching over to HubSpot, and we had something very similar already before, so it was very good that way. Like, dude, I can't imagine trying to run even like a company like $1 million company, like without that level of data. And it's not like it's overwhelming. It doesn't take like 5 years of your life. You don't have to be a CRM jockey sitting there all day. I can't imagine running a company without that thing.
Yeah. The latest thing now, you might like this, is an AI tool that records both sides of the sales conversation and digests it. Have you seen them?
Well, I already kind of used something similar. What do you mean by listens and digests? Explain.
So I was talking with a guy who is a painting contractor.
Okay.
And they do residential calls. And his reps show up with their phone that records the sales guy and the homeowner in their home, which I think is interesting. And then it's like this 40-minute conversation, but then it goes through and it's showing like they're talking about the problem at 2 minutes and 40 seconds, which is too late. Should be first. What did you do for 2 minutes? And it's like, wow, that's kind of cool. I'm not using it with any reps, but are you? Are you doing something similar?
So you might be describing like a physical device, right? That sits. Yeah, because it's not like that sales guy's walking around chasing the homeowner with the phone, right? Being like, here, talking to
app. No, I think it's an app on the phone.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, so I've seen physical, like it looks like a little necklace thing, but it's recording it, and then you can plug it in. It's all cloud-based. Obviously, it's going to sync over Wi-Fi, and then you get your transcript and the notes and all that. Yeah, we're basically doing that, Neal, but just not with a device. So if we have a call through the CRM, it's going to be recorded. If we have a video conference, it all goes through like an AI thing.
Is AI analyzing the call?
Not to that. It's not like a sales specific. So I get like it's very helpful for updating the CRM. So you get like a very general summary. So now anyone can see that lead from last year. Hey, why didn't we close on this? Well, here's the summary. I would be very interested are you describing a tool that basically does that, but analyzes it through the lens of a salesperson?
A sales coach. Yeah.
I'd probably buy that today. Because those little things that you just said, like, why did it take you 2 minutes and 20 seconds to get into the problem? I completely agree. It's like, what, if we're just sales talking for 2 minutes on a sales call, we're probably just building sales resistance. Like, why not get into the problem?
Yeah. I mean, and they have ways of setting up your own process. I'm not using any of it. It's interesting. Right now, I do listen to recorded calls and sometimes troubleshoot with people. Of course, right? Like let's record, let's hear it. Otherwise, how do you know how you're performing, right? But yeah, the way it was pitched to me is like this should alleviate the need for like ride-alongs or shadowing your salespeople as a salesman. That's
it.
Kind of compelling.
Now, the devil's advocate to that, and this would be a whole other hour-long discussion, is like, well, you probably don't want to abdicate that completely, because the more AI we get, the less human we get, and that's probably going to be a tipping point of where we've lost the value. But
Yeah. I mean, I'm
Neal, I'm the guy that loves people, remember? So like, of course I'm going to be like, but
no. I was going to agree with you on this one. So I am a huge proponent of human connection. I'm committed to it. Right. And so I was just having a conversation this morning, and this is, what do we do after the sale, right? How do we nurture the client? How do we get them to expand and get more dollars from them? And so we call that typically account management, right? And so I'm working with the sales team. The company has about 600 entities that pay us right now, and we're trying to get more. And I got 4 sales reps, right? And their primary job is to go sign up new people, but also we need to take better care of the current ones. And so they're like, well, Neal, what am I supposed to do? Like 150 people, I just got to call them, because I'm like, I want to touch every single person, once a month and all that kind of stuff. And so they're overwhelmed by this concept. And I'm like, well, let's use technology to help us, right? So there's a physical product involved with this and a digital interface involved with this offering. And so we should be able to see when things are being shipped. We should be able to see when things aren't received or set up, or people aren't logging in. Like let's use technology to tell you who to contact and when, right? So, I mean, maybe most of the companies listening are small enough that your salespeople just know what jobs are being done. Do you guys use those whiteboards with the magnets with the customer names that we used to use all the time in landscaping?
no,
Still?
I was born in 1990. No,
of course you do. Right. And so like, maybe you see that, so, but like, hey, the crew's on site, you're probably taking photos. Like, how come we're not getting that to the customer? How come the salesperson's not being notified and just like pushing it or semi-automating it, right? So I love to send really personal notes with just plain text, but it's all automated. But then once you respond, it's like, well, now we're talking, right? We're off the automation. So every day you should show up, and there should be 5 customers to touch, and they should be smartly suggested on that list, not just in a rotation. We can do that with technology now. The other side I was going to say is like, I'm trying to train my people to use ChatGPT as a sales coach, right? So like AI is, I've come to believe that AI is really based, its value is based primarily on your ability to give it a good prompt. So like, let me help you write a prompt to try and emulate Neal's voice. I'm not going to build an AI engine. I'm not going to charge people for that. But like, let's try and get ChatGPT to kind of suggest something like I might suggest, and point it to certain references and give it some background and put that in. And then like we do pipeline reviews, right? Once every 2 weeks. It takes a lot of time to do a pipeline review, which is looking at every deal in your pipeline and talking about it and figuring it out. And it's really important. It's one of the critical things we do in sales management, but a sales rep could do it by themselves if they were inclined to. I've got reps now using chat to help them do a pipeline review and then discussing the results with me. It's like, that's amazing.
that is
crazy.
Yeah.
So you don't need to hire Neal to be your coach. I'm happy to if you want, but like, you can train chat to do it. My life would be best if I was just working with people on assessments and then they were going elsewhere, right? Like, I'm okay working myself out of this job. Yeah. It's a little exhausting to teach the same thing every single day, right? So my whole philosophy, and you know this, right? Like, I'll talk to a company and go, yeah, we should do 6 months of coaching. They go, well, what happens after that? Then we pay you another 6 months? Like, hey, man, this might come as a surprise. I'm not looking for a part-time job, right? My vision, my purpose in life is to come in, help you out right now, and then get you working on your own without me. That's what I'm happiest doing, right? So AI has really changed the game on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, you're a gem. You're a gem. You're like one of my favorite people I've ever met. I'm just so psyched that I know you. I had fun with you at Pavex, being the Vanna White, on your presentation. The value you bring here is super. Like we don't even normally record this long, but like I could just keep going. I think this is
really?
awesome. So I need you to do me. I need you to do me a favor though.
Yes.
In the next 30 seconds, we're gonna put this all in the show notes, but just plug everything where people can find you, because I know like there's places, there's things, there's like just where do people go, man?
So www.nealglatt.com.
I love that you said www. I don't know why.
GLATT.com. Yeah. We can debate if it's because it's me or because of your audience, right? But that's awesome. That's because I also am born pre-internet.
Sure.
All right. NealGlatt.com. LinkedIn is my favorite place. We have a company page called Neal Glatt Sales and Strategy. We're posting cool stuff there all the time. So some of those webinars you talked about, always free from OMG. Lots of insights into sales and sales management. Those would be the two best places to find me. But also my cell phone is a great spot. So you can always shoot me a text, 805-340-9311.
Absolutely. Awesome, brother. Thanks for coming on. And
thank you for having me, Cam. It's always
18 months, 2 years. We'll run it back. We'll do it
all
again.
Right. You let me know.
Hey, where's your podcast? How come you don't have one?
I don't know. Maybe Cassidy will want to start one, but I don't know.
Honestly, it's not too late, but the other side of it is like, I don't know. Sometimes you got to think what's the highest leverage thing, and it works for us, man. Like we're but like it's not. Yeah.
I did podcasting. I was a co-host on an industry podcast for like 2.5 years, every single week.
Yeah.
I've been a guest on lots and lots of them. Sometimes people call me. They're like, I heard that podcast you did. I'm like, oh, cool. What was I talking about? That sounded interesting, right? Because I've recorded hundreds of them. I wrote an email blast and a blog for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then we sold that company. And I was like, it's kind of nice not having that like looming deadline all the time. So I've been hesitant to jump back into, because if I'm going to do it, it's going to be every week. And I don't know. So the past year I've been really just focused on clients and gifting and more human connection stuff than kind of mass media. And Cassie's gotten the company page up. She posts every week or twice a week, or shit, could be 3 times a week. I only know because she tells me sometimes, how come you didn't share this, right? So I try when I do, but it's not my thing. Maybe someday.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, if and when I'll come on, it'll be great.
Of course, definitely. All right. Thanks, Cam.
All right, it's been real. Thanks, mate. All right.
Bye.
What's up, guys? This episode of the show today is brought to you by our good friends at One Crew. So if you run a pavement maintenance business, asphalt paving, line striping, one of the biggest things that has helped me grow my business from literally working out of a minivan to like 7 figures of revenue was understanding the costs that we were putting into our jobs and speeding up the process of how quick we can serve customers. What I learned in business is that it takes a lot of time to make an estimate. It takes a lot of time to get your pricing. And then you're going to hear like people like me on this podcast or other successful business people talk about job costing and know your numbers. And if you're a business owner, like you just don't have time for that. Like, you know, it's important, but you don't have the time. That's why we use One Crew. And I'm so happy that they sponsored this show. One Crew simplifies that. They make everything easy. So from the moment a lead comes in to how you estimate it, to getting the proposal to your customer and then converting that to a work order, One Crew has simplified the whole thing. It cut our time on a sales cycle by 70% in my company. The cost savings of that alone is insane. So if that interests you and you want to know more, like they give free demos. So here's what you're going to do. Go to getonecrew.com/stripe it. Getonecrew.com/stripe it. You just need to plunk in your info, and then their team will reach out to you to set up a demo. It's totally free. I guarantee you're going to be blown away with the stuff you see. Now, if you go to that link, they will also give you, if you sign up with the program, $500 off your startup fee, which is pretty awesome. Pretty big savings. So getonecrew.com/stripeit. Take the free demo. They're not going to pressure you. It's a great software. I really think you need to see it to understand what it could do for your company, like it's what it's done for my company.